What's going on, Duelists? It's your boy Nick, bringing you today on the channel an update to my Chimera Illusion Melffy deck profile for the post-Infinite Forbidden format. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. My name is Nick. We do Yu-Gi-Oh! Content mainly focused around rogue and casual decks alike. If that's the kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! That you're interested in, then I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more of my uploads. We are currently working our way to 2,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. So, with the intro out of the way, I do want to preface that I apologize for the lack of content recently. I've just been absolutely buried in tons of work, and I've just been working like really long shifts and getting home super late, and I've just been like so burnt out, honestly. So I want to apologize for the lack of content on the channel. It's not that I haven't been working on stuff behind the scenes, it's just that I just have had very little time to devote to Yu-Gi-Oh! Unfortunately. As of recently. And there are still some things I want to bring to the channel. Like, I've actually, behind the scenes, I've been working on an update to Mutant, actually, featuring the new Ritual Beast support from the Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge set. And I've been trying to dial that deck in for the past few weeks now, and it's one of the hardest decks I've ever piloted in my life. And I want to get that deck just right before bringing it to the channel. So I'm just going to ask you guys to wait just a little bit longer for that updated Mutant Ritual Beast list. And I also have some stuff coming post Infinite Forbidden as well. I did go to Sneak Peek. Luckily, I was able to make it for that. And I pulled a couple of things that I wanted for some decks that I want to try and build. So rest assured, I will have post-info content coming very soon. However, in the meantime, I wanted to give you guys an update to my Melffy Chimera deck, or Melffy Illusion deck, however you want to call it, because this deck got a lot of indirect support in the Infinite Forbidden with the help of a lot of really cool brand new illusion monsters like this Link monster you see here before you. So, with all that information out of the way, one last thing before we get started. I will be out of town this weekend, so I won't be able to do any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content until like sometime next week. So just like I said, just be patient with me. I do apologize for the lack of content. I've been trying to get better at consistently putting videos out at least weekly. So, you know, I appreciate everyone who's been giving me support and liking my videos, sharing my content, spreading the word and whatnot. Like I said, we're working our way to 2,000 subs. I need your help to get there. So if you're watching this still and you're not subscribed, just subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it only benefits the channel in the long run. And it really means a lot to me. So, with all that out of the way, we're going to dive headfirst into this 44 card deck list. Now, it's actually the largest Melffy Chimera deck that I've put together on the channel. And that's only because I was finding it difficult to cut down on a lot of stuff, and I'll explain that as we get into the profile. So it's a 44 card list, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're starting things off with a playset of Cornfield Codal, pretty much the best like starter for the Chimera theme. You just discard it from the hand to search any monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from deck to hand, and then while you control a monster whose name is Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, from the while he's in the graveyard or the field, if an opponent targets a card we control, we can banish this card and then negate that effect and destroy that card as well, which is very, very strong. So we want to max out on Cornfield Codals, obviously. Up next, a playset of Mirror Sword Knight, pretty much what you're always searching off the Codal. This card, similar to like a Lone Fire Blossom, can quick effect tribute itself to special summon a monster from the deck who mentions Chimera Fusion. And then just like Codal, if we control a monster whose name is Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, while the Sword Knight is on the field or in the graveyard, if the opponent activates a monster effect on the field, we can banish this card from the field or grave to negate that effect. So very strong interruption there, and a great starter overall. Obviously, both of those cards were illusion-type monsters, and a majority of the illusions have this gimmick where if they're battle, neither monster can be killed by battle, and it's pretty much because, you know, they're like illusions, they're not really there, which is kind of cool. Up next is a playset of Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws, another really good starter. So we have a lot of starters. Like, this is already like total of 9 starters for the Chimera package, but Gazelle, upon normal or special summon, allows you to add a level 5 Fiend monster or a Chimera Fusion from the deck to hand. And then if this card is sent to grave as material for a fusion summon, we get to add an illusion monster from deck to hand. So overall, a very amazing starter there as well. And I like having all these starters because it just bolsters the consistency of the deck overall, which obviously I really enjoy. Up next, double copies of Big Wing Baphomet. Not necessarily a starter because he is a level 5. This is generally what you want to special summon off the Sword Knight effect. But if this card's normal or special summoned, you get to add a level 4 beast monster and or a Chimera Fusion from deck to hand. And then you're locked into fusion summoning for the remainder of the turn. But pretty much having a double search on just normal or special summon without even the need of a discard is very strong. And then just like Gazelle, he does have a grave effect. When sent to grave as fusion material, he can target an illusion in grave and special summon it. So very cool there. And then up next we have 2 copies of the Nightmare Apprentice. She was brand new out of the previous core set, Legacy of Destruction. And she can discard a card from hand to special herself. And then upon normal or special summon, she lets you add an illusion monster from the deck to the hand. And then just like all the other illusions, if she battles, neither monster can be destroyed by battle. So very cool cards there, obviously. And again, even more consistency boosters. Then we do play 1 copy of Master Tao, 1 copy of Nightmare Magician. 2 very good tech illusion choices, in my opinion. Master Tao, when sent to grave, can target an illusion in grave, special summon it in defense position. And then Nightmare Magician is just a really amazing card. We have so many like really good illusion related support that allows us to get this card out much easier than before. So I feel like it's even more so now worth running in the main deck as a one-of, just because it's searchable. You can revive it from grave. You can even protect it. Very cool card in my opinion. Also has a really strong effect. You can destroy cards non-target when an attack is declared, and then if he battles, obviously neither monster can be killed by battle, but at the end of the damage step, he can take control of a monster that he battled, which is very cool. That's also a permanent Snatch Steal-like effect, which is very good. Then moving into the Melffy lineup, we bolstered up the Melffy lineup actually. Instead of playing one-ofs of all the Melffys, we're now just playing doubles of all the ones that you pretty much just want to see, which is pretty much Wally, Puppy, Caddy. These are like the most proactive Melffys in my opinion. Wally just being like a rescue cat for the Melffy archetype. Puppy letting you special summon beasts from deck, and Caddy letting you add beasts from a deck to hand, are all very strong, and they're also really difficult to play around. And then the last Melffy we do play is 1 copy of Melffy Penny. Penny is just an insane tuner monster, allows us to quick sync during the opponent's turn into almost whatever we want, as long as we're using the Melffys as material. And there is some pretty cool stuff that we can pull off, especially post-info, which we'll talk about when we get to the extra deck. And then to round out the Melffy package to some extent is just 2 copies of Kalantosa. Not a Melffy card in name, but this is generally what you're summoning off of Puppy majority of the time. And he's just great to keep like abusing because it's not once per turn. So you can easily get several pops using this card and help break the opponent's board with, which is really strong. Then, because it's a fusion deck and obviously we need fusion material, we have a Frightfur package. So we have 3 Edge of Chains, and then we also play Patchworks, but we'll talk about that when we get to the spells. So Edge of Chain, just when it's sent to grave, allows us to add a Frightfur card from deck to hand, so we max out on that, obviously, again, for consistency. Then for some non-engine, we just play 3 Valor and double DD Crow. Not the most non-engine in the deck, and that's partly because we have to play so much engine. But despite that, I think the deck still performs rather well. Again, it's not the most competitive deck, obviously, but it is a ton of fun, and there's a lot of really unique synergies that both the Chimera deck package and the Melffy package have with each other, both directly and indirectly. And I feel like if you take this to a local setting with the experienced pilot, you have a very high chance of doing really well, in my opinion. So these are the non-engine choices that we're running, and that wraps up the monster lineup. Now moving into the spells, of which we do play triple copies of Obedience Gold. Probably one of the most insane spells in this deck. Just pretty much emergency teleport for 3 beasts from the deck. And the only restriction is that you're locked into beasts for the rest of the turn, which, to be fair, isn't even that harsh of a restriction because there's tons and tons of beast-related support that we're playing, so the lock really doesn't hinder us at all. And if, worst-case scenario, this card's just really big ash bait. Once your opponent, they ask what it does, you tell them it specials 3 monsters from deck. Very high chance they're ashing this, which is perfectly fine anyway, because you'd rather have them ash that versus ashing something like Sword Knight or like a Wally or Puppy effect, which is obviously more important to you. But anyway, moving on, we do play a playset of Chimera Fusion itself. Very much needed for obviously the Chimera deck, and the fact that it's a quick play just makes it that much better, and it recurs itself, which is even crazier. Then we're on the double poly and double patchwork. Again, like I said, we're on the patchwork engine, so it's 3 chain, 2 poly, 2 patchwork. I found is the best ratio in my honest opinion. And then to round out the last spell, 1 copy of Melffy Hide and Seek. Not only does it offer us protection for our beast monsters from card effects, but we can also once per turn target 3 beasts in grave, shuffle them into the deck, and draw 1 card. Very amazing card for recursion. And then the last card in the main, again, this is a 44 card list, is 1 copy of Silo Hat Trick. This is a brand new trap card from the Infinite Forbidden core set, and it's a trap monster. But furthermore, it special summons itself as an illusion type monster, and it also has the illusion clause, meaning if it battles, neither monster can be killed by battle. In addition to that, when it is special summoned, as a monster, of course, you can target cards on the field up to the number of illusions you control and negate their effects to the end of the turn. So really cool trap card, and this trap is searchable through one of the brand new monsters we're playing in the extra deck, which we'll talk about momentarily. So like I said, that wraps up the 44 card deck list for my Melffy Chimera Illusion deck. Now moving into the extra deck, we're on double copies of Chimera the King of Phantom Beasts. This card's name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while it's on the field or in the grave. The reason why we play 2 copies of this is simply because we're on a more beast-focused side of, the Chimera line. Especially if we're activating cards like Obedience Gold. We're beast-locked anyway. So I want a second one for the follow-up play in the event that we are beast-locked. But this card's really amazing. When it is fusion summoned, it activates an effect where at the end of the turn, your opponent randomly discards a card from their hand. And then he even has a really neat grave effect where if he's in the graveyard, he can, during the opponent's turn, banish himself to special summon any beast, fiend, or illusion from grave, which is obviously very strong. Then, of course, we're on the 1 fusion Baphomet. Again, we just play a 2-in-1 ratio because, again, we tend to be beast-locked sometimes with Obedience Gold. And I know a lot of decks, sometimes they play 1 Chimera and 2 Baphomet, but for the purposes of this deck, I found that 2 Chimera, 1 Baphomet works best. Baphomet, just like Chimera the King of Phantom Beasts, his name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while it's on the field or in the grave. On fusion summon, he foolishes any beast, fiend, or illusion from deck, and then just like the King of Phantom Beasts, while Baphomet, the mythical King of Phantom Beasts, is in the graveyard, during the opponent's turn as a quick effect, he can banish himself from the grave to target a banished beast, fiend, or illusion and special summon it to the field. So 2 very cool fusion monsters for this deck. Then obviously we have the boss monster here, Chimera the Illusion Beast. Also, his name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while in the field or in the grave. He can attack a number of times up to the amount of material used for his summon. And in addition to that, he is the first illusion fusion. Well, he's no longer the only one, at least, because in Infinite Forbidden, there was actually a new illusion fusion monster for the Memento theme that came out. But up until this point, Chimera the Illusion Beast was the only illusion fusion in the game. So he does have the illusion clause where if he battles, neither monster can be killed by battle. But he's kind of got like a built-in Lost Wind effect to himself, where at the end of the damage step, if he battled, he can negate the effects of that monster and reduce its attack to 0. And that's a permanent negation and attack reduction. And because he can attack multiple times, the goal here is to just swing into something, make it 0, and then continually swing into that monster, just giving your opponent 3100 damage all the way through, which is obviously very cheesy and really cool in my opinion. But you just play 1 of that. Then we're on the 1 Magnum the Reliever, followed by 2 copies of Guardian Chimera. Again, we favor double Guardian Chimera for this list because in case we're beast locked through Obedience Gold, we want to have 1 for the play and then another 1 for follow-up. So that works out there as far as our fusion ratios go. Now moving into our synchro monsters, because remember, we do have Melffy Penny in the deck, which can allow us to synchro summon. We have 1 copy of Merry Melffys. Pretty much when it's special summoned, we can target a face-up monster on the field, return it to the hand. However, brand new out of info, we have 1 copy of Silvera, Wolf Tamer of the White Forest. This is a brand new level 6 Spellcaster Synchro Tuner that is generic, and when this card is special summoned, we can change all face-up monsters the opponent controls to face-down defense position. This is basically a Book of Tayu, or I'm sorry, not Book of Tayu, Book of Moon. No, not even that. Oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Excuse me. Book of Eclipse. That's the one I'm thinking of. Too many books. So this is pretty much a Book of Eclipse on legs, and the fact that we can use Penny to quick sync on the opponent's turn makes this very threatening, because if timed correctly, you can pretty much just end your opponent's turn. In addition to that, this monster can also do double piercing damage, and he gains 500 attack as well, bumping him up to 2400, and having that stat line on a double piercer is actually really insane. So 2 very cool synchros. Then we actually do play 1 copy of Chaos Angel, because there are lines that do get us into this through our Chimera line. Something I'm thinking like a Nightmare Apprentice plus a Sword Knight can get us into this. There are a couple of other ways as well, but we do play the Chaos Angel in the deck just to have access. In case, we get deburied or something silly, we have an additional way to continue playing and have a pretty decent boss monster to establish. We do play 1 copy of Melffy of the Forest, really insane card here. Not only does it search the deck for any Melffy cards, but it also is a monster negate all on its own, which is very nice. And then for the links, we do play 1 Cross Sheep, One of the brand new Silo Hat Rabbit. This is the first illusion link monster. Again, has the illusion clause where neither monster can be killed by battle. In addition to that, if this card is link summoned, we can set a trap from our deck to our side of the field that has the effect of special summon itself as a monster, which is how we can get to our Silo Hat trick through the Silo Hat Rabbit. And if a trap monster is special summoned to a zone he points to, he can target a spell trap the opponent controls and destroy it. Overall, very powerful link too, in my opinion. And then we round out the last two links with one copy of Farragut. Again, a really good beast link to play in this deck. And then the last link is one copy of Underworld Goddess, just to be able to clear any unaffected like threats and whatnot. Very strong monster there. Before we wrap up the video, I do want to go over the side. Again, keep in mind the side deck is always up to personal preference, but for the purposes of this particular list, I'm choosing to go with 3 copies of Alpha the Master of Beasts, an amazing card for when you're going second just to board break, and it is a searchable monster off of Melffy Caddy, which I find very entertaining. Then we also play a playset of Skullmeister. Not the most impactful hand trap, but it is not once per turn, and it is a Dark Fiend, which does play into this deck's wants at times. You know, sometimes you just need a Fiend in hand to be able to fusion summon a specific card, so Skullmeister fills that role nicely. And I like the fact that, if you notice, all the hand traps that we play in the main and side deck, which are Veiler, DD Crow, and Meister, none of them are hard onces. This deck has a tendency to deep draw really hard into itself, so I just wanted hand traps that if you drew them in multiples, they weren't dead. You could still utilize, you know, all of them. We do play one copy of Emissary from House of Wax. Really insane illusion monster that we can side into that can like floodgate our opponent for pretty much from their battle phase until their next. That just like none of their monsters can be used as material for anything, and all of their effects are negated, and they can't change battle positions, which is crazy. And then we do play the third DD Crow just in the side, so that rounds out all the monsters that we sideboard here. And then rounding out the rest of the side is just some board breakers. We have double Lightning Storm, one Duster, like I said, for board breaking purposes. And then new to the side deck actually is some very interesting illusion related traps. We have 2 copies of Mirage Mirror Force, followed by 2 copies of Sinful Spoils of Slumber Morion. So Mirage Mirror Force is actually kind of interesting. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, we can special summon an illusion from our hand or grave, and if we do, we return the attacking monster to the hand. If that wasn't crazy enough, if a face-up illusion monster we control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, while this card is in the grave, we can banish this card to then special an illusion from hand or grave. So 2 very awesome effects on this card, in my opinion, and in testing, it's actually come up quite a lot, and a lot of people just don't expect it, so I've been having a lot of fun with this. And then this other trap, Sinful Spoils of Slumber, you get to target a face-up special summon monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position. So this is like a Book of Moon, just in trap card form. However, you have the added benefit of if you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster and this card's in the graveyard, you can reset this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So it's like a Book of Moon that you get to have a second activation out of, which I thought was really cool. So these cards I've been siding into them when I've been going first, and they've actually come up quite a bit, and I've been really enjoying playing with them. So that's going to wrap up the side deck and whatnot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my updated Melffy Chimera illusion list for the post-Infinite Forbidden format. Like I said, I do want to apologize for the lack of content recently. I've just been completely swamped with work. I'm trying to, get a consistent, repertoire of videos coming out to you guys. So just bear with me. Again, subscribe if you're not already. Stay tuned so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. And with that being said, this is Nick, hitting that end phase. Thank you all so much.